stargazers and seekers of the cosmic truth and light. I'm logging on today to let you know that Uranus is about ready to go retrograde. And that is officially beginning this week on Thursday, August 19th, 2021. And listen, this is a very long retrograde. So that's just the way Uranus is. It moves slow. So it will be retrograde all the way through January 18th, 2022. 5 months. 5-month long retrograde. So we'll have some time to really gel into these energies and go deep with it. Uranus is the planet of constant, sudden change. It is the great awakener. It is the change agent. It is also known to be the planet of chaos, unexpected surprises. And sometimes these surprises that it brings are, pleasant and wanted, and sometimes they are not. You can think of Uranus as being a little bit associated with the Wheel of Fortune. And when the Wheel of Fortune spins, you never know what will come. So it's a very unpredictable energy. It is predictably unpredictable. Okay? And Uranus is not alone in retrograding right now. If you caught my earlier video about it, or maybe you didn't, now with Uranus going retrograde, we now have in August of 2021, we're going to have 6 major planetary bodies in retrograde. 6. So there's a lot of reviewing going on right now. There's a lot of deep soul searching. And with Uranus joining this bunch, there's going to be a lot of discontentment. I do predict that. Because, here's the thing. When a planet goes retrograde, especially a really slow energy like Uranus, for about 2 weeks before, actually, and especially 2 weeks into the retrograde, so there's this whole month-long period where it's really intense, where the energy of that planet can actually become intensified. It can kind of become agitated and stirred up. And listen, Uranus is agitated and stirred up anyway. This is the ruler of Aquarius. So if you are an Aquarius, or you have, many Aquarian planets in your chart, or even just a few important ones, you are really probably going to feel this agitation that's stirring up. But even if you don't, we all have Aquarius somewhere. We all have Uranus somewhere in our charts. So yes, that desire to have sudden change is very strong right now. And there is an undercurrent of discontent. And that's not bad, by the way, because discontent can show you, possibly, it might point you in the direction of where you want to make changes in your life. So there can be a lot of information that comes through with it, but also it can be very frustrating. So do be aware of that. And you have to watch it. When Uranus is retrograde, this is basically a message from the universe to take a break from extreme change. They're asking us to take a break from maybe the really thing we want the most right now. Or we think we want it. But this is really more of a time of reviewing the major changes that you have made. And again, the exact dates of when it's officially retrograde would be August 19th, 2021, all the way through up until January 18th, 2022. And notice that's 5-month period. So these next 5 months are going to be really good for you to look at the changes that you made and reevaluate those. And also perhaps become more aware of major changes you want to make in the future and to start hatching a plan. It may not be the best time for acting on that. Traditional astrological wisdom would say, no, it's not the best time to make major changes. Heck, right now we've got 6 major planetary bodies in retrograde, so no, it's probably not overall the best time for making major changes, in that if you try to do that right now, it will be more difficult than usual because, the thing is with all these retrogrades, there's just more delays and more disappointments, and things are slowed down because the attention is to be turning inward. not so much outward into making changes in the material world. Now, that being said, sometimes you need to move and you need to move now, and I get that. I'll leave that up for you to decide. You have to use your discernment, your wisdom. And especially if it's a very, if it's a dangerous situation, it's always a good time to get out of it, okay? So in some extreme situations, of course, you have to act now. What the danger is with Uranus retrograding is that our discontent can get so high. Your discontent can get so high, dear one, and your dissatisfaction. It's like itching under the skin, like you're itching. And you can think you have to change this, whatever it is now. And maybe you don't. It sort of depends. Or maybe you'd be wiser to start looking at your options instead. I'm not saying stay in a crappy situation, by the way. I don't think you should. But awaken yourself. Uranus is the great awakener. So on one level, it's the change agent, but how does it really do that? A lot of us think we'll make these changes, we'll go do something and then all of our life will change. How we feel will change. But sometimes how you feel and how you are inside needs to change first so that you can make the change. For example, if you're in a relationship you want to leave, or a job, that's a relationship too, by the way, either job or relationship, okay? And you want to leave that, you feel that you've outgrown that and it's just not you anymore and you're uncomfortable in it, and you feel like you want to expand, you want to do something not just better, but more. You want to expand. That's great. Are you in a position where you can just up and quit that relationship or job today? Or do you even want to just up and quit? Maybe you want to gradually, say, if it's a job, start looking at other jobs or start considering what other type of work you're going to do. Maybe you want to come up with a plan for making that transition over a 6-month time period. If you are in a relationship you want to end, if it's only a short term and you're not enmeshed, you might just leave it. But probably it's not going to be that easy right now with all these retrogrades. Even if it is a short-term relationship, probably it's going to be a little bit harder than you think to make the transition, so just know that. It's more of a time of reviewing the transitions we have made, and maybe with an eye to the future of what will be future transitions, and if so, reviewing what you might need to do in your life, how you might need to empower yourself to get ready for that. And so, an example of leaving a job or relationship, yes, there are action steps that you could start planning on to make the transition gradually. But there's also the inner consciousness part. And that really brings me to the core of Uranus retrograde for all of us. And that is that when Uranus is retrograde, it turns our awareness, it's trying to move your awareness inward to work in the field of consciousness, to raise your thinking, your feelings, your vibration, however you want to conceive of it, however you want to word that. Using the examples earlier of either leaving a job or a relationship, what does it take to do that gracefully? Well, one of the things it takes is a self-empowerment. It takes a belief in yourself that you can move forward, right? The other thing I think it very much takes is forgiveness and tying up loose ends. Because that is so important if you actually want to move forward, if you want to really make the change and not just keep repeating the same old patterns but with different characters. Okay, you have to resolve the karma in the current situation. So, is there anything you still need to do with that job? Is there anything you still need to do in that relationship? Is there something you feel you owe that other person, or something that is left undone? For example, right, these are questions to ask yourself, because this will help you to make that transition, to make that move. Now, not everybody's going to be looking at making these kinds of major moves, so if you're not looking at leaving a job or relocating, for example, or leaving a relationship, what this might look for you like, what this might look like is more of an inner journey. Well, these are all inner journeys, actually, aren't they? But an even deeper inner journey, and looking at your own awakening, and, taking a rest from feeling like you have to push yourself so hard to make changes. You don't always have to do that. I mean, we do need to keep evolving and growing, but in order to do that, there does need to be pause points along the way when you go back and review. Now, hence one of the great things about Uranus Retrograde, I find, is that if you have some kind of long-term situation that's been perplexing you, especially if it is a change that you've made in the past, a situation that has changed and you don't understand it, anything chronic though, or just long-lasting, you might have some sudden breakthroughs, like some real strong intuitive flashes around the time that Uranus goes retrograde and shortly thereafter. Really all the way into the first month. I mean, at any time during Uranus retrograde, we can have these enhanced intuitive flashes regarding situations that we have been dealing with for a long time. So it's helping with solving problems that have been existing. Does that make sense? I hope so. So open to those intuitive flashes, open to the insight, and be aware that Uranus does rule or have an affinity with technology and computers and electricity and energy. So the internet, all of that. So there could definitely be some kind of problem, agitation come up right around the time of Uranus retrograde, especially. Some might find they have to replace their computing systems or redo their software or other kinds of things like that during Uranus retrograde because the old systems suddenly don't work. And really, Uranus is a system-orientated planetary energy. It takes us up into the big picture and helps us to look at the systems that are our life, that are our community. It is a group-oriented thing. So you may be reevaluating your group connections, even, larger connections, political, spiritual connections, any groups that you identify with because you share goals or ideas. Maybe you don't share those goals or ideas anymore. Maybe you do. You will be looking at that. You will be reevaluating that. There's always this dance, it's a paradoxical dance that you're on, where it is a very, in some ways, individualistic energy. It is about, your awakening, your change, following your higher will, but then also doing that dance with the group and with the cosmos, and in service to others. It's not about losing yourself to others. I think some people think that about Uranus, and it's not. It's about being the best unique self you can be in the context of supported groups and friends. So you might find yourself reconnecting back with groups and friendships that you haven't been connecting with for some time. I mean, especially right now because maybe many have let their group associations, community associations kind of go to the wayside during, the past year with the lockdowns and more people staying at home. And of course, we can connect online, we do. But there may be also, a desire to go out because Uranus is in Taurus, and Taurus is a very social sign. So in closing too, I might say if you're a little bit more of an astro nerd, you should look at your chart and look at where 14 to 10 degrees Taurus is, because that's where it will be transiting during the 5-month cycle. And if you don't know that, don't worry about that. I'm just throwing that in for those of you who work with here and stuff. Until next time, I'm wishing you all much peace as you go within and review and also look forward to the future. Right, bless you.